A very good morning, students. Welcome back to Java programming class. In the last session, we have seen different classes under java.util package. We have seen the bitset class. We have also seen the date, calendar, and the timer classes. We have seen the constructors related to these classes, the different predefined methods associated with these classes, and the demonstrating programs also we have discussed in our yesterday's session. So in today's session we'll be discussing the last concept inside your fourth unit, that is the regular expressions. Okay, so without wasting much time, just go and see what different classes we have. Again, when we are talking about this regular expressions concept, it is nothing but the set of predefined classes only. We need to discuss a set of predefined classes and the methods related to these classes, the constructors, and the demonstrating programs. Okay, if we complete these things, we conclude our syllabus. Okay, we try to conclude our syllabus in today's session. If not possible, I will take another session. Okay, so fair enough. So we'll go and we'll see what concepts we have under this regular expressions. Okay, so the concept of a regular expression, okay, the Java's regex, more popularly known as Java's regex, it is an API, okay, application programming interface. It is an API. So why we use this API? In the sense, in order to do the pattern matching. Okay, pattern matching in the sense, generally to if you have strings, okay, if you generally whatever names we are going to store, whatever addresses we are going to store, they will be stored like a string only in our programming, in our database or in our file. Wherever we are storing the data, that data will be stored in the form of a string only. So generally, if you are performing the search operation on that string, so what we do, we give, if you don't remember the exact name, or if you remember only the part of the name, or let us say if you want all the people to be searched whose surname is so and so, likewise if you want to do some pattern, if you want to search the persons whose name is starting with A, the letter A, so in such cases we use these regular expressions. Okay, so regular expression is nothing but it is an API. Regex is an API to define a pattern for searching. Okay, generally we create a pattern using this regex. What we do means we create a pattern to perform searching or manipulating the strings. So in order to manipulate the strings, basically we use this regex. Okay, regex patterns. It is widely used to define the constraint on strings such as password and email validation. So let us say if you are entering a password, or let us say if you are entering the email. So validation in the sense, email must and should end with some at the rate followed by some domain.com, isn't it? Like this, the email name must end. So if you are asking the email name, okay, if you are asking the end user to enter the email ID, but instead he is keeping something like he is keeping his name, let us assume. In place of email ID, he is keeping his name. Then how you are going to identify whether he has not entered the email ID, rather he entered his name, in the sense just by checking this at the rate and followed by the domain name. Okay, if the email ID is having this at the rate followed by the domain, then you can treat that entry as an email ID. Then how you are going to check for this one? In the sense, we are going to write a regular expression for this one. So if your entered string, if it is satisfying the regular expression, then only we make the entry into the database as an email ID. If your if your string, whatever you are entering, if it is not satisfying that regular expression, okay, if it is not satisfying the email ID regular expression, what we do, we simply block that entry into the database or into the file, and we asks or we request the end user to again make the entry. Okay, that is, we call it as a validation. So doing the proper entry into the database and avoiding unwanted entries into the database is nothing but the validation. Same thing for password. So generally on a password, what we do, we impose some constraints, isn't it? Password must and should be 8 character long. Okay, and password must have all uppercase, lowercase, numericals, and one special character. Likewise, we used to see the constraints imposed on the passwords when we create our accounts either in Gmail or in Yahoo or on Facebook. Likewise, we see these type of constraints, isn't it? So how we are going to impose those constraints on these strings, in the sense by using these regular expressions only. Okay, very soon we are going to have some basic understanding. We do some programming also on these regular expressions, so that you will come to know the purpose of these regular expressions in programming languages, okay, or in application development, we can say. So simply remember, most probably we do this type of regular expression stuff in order to do validation on fields, and as well as in order to do searching. Okay, searching as well as the validation. Okay, searching means it is a regular type of searching only. We are entering some keyword, and whatever string we have inside our database which is satisfying that keyword will be retrieved, isn't it? That is searching, we know that. And what is validation? In the sense making proper entries. Okay, email ID means it has to go with email ID only. Okay, the entry should be done with email ID only. If mobile number, let us say you have created one field as a mobile number, so you have to input only the what we call numericals, and plus symbol is allowed, because some of the area codes will start with plus, isn't it? So numericals as well as plus code is plus is allowed. No other symbol is allowed. If you give characters as an input inside the a mobile field, what will happen? It should give some prompt. It should give some error message over there that the user is doing some wrong entry, isn't it? So to achieve that one, we are using these regular expressions. Okay, after learning Java's regex tutorial, you will be able to test your regular expressions by Java's regex tester tool. Okay, and Java's regex API provides one interface. Okay, under this API, what we have under this regex API, as we are saying, regex is nothing but it is a application programming interface, and under this interface, okay, under this interface we have under this API we have one interface and three classes. Okay, one interface and three classes we have, and these are under java.util.regex package. Okay, regex is the sub package of your util. Okay, util is the main package under Java. Util is the main package, or we can say under Java package, util is the sub package, and in that sub package we have regex as the sub package. So under this regex package, we have one interface and three classes which are helpful in performing the regular expressions, in performing the pattern matching, we can say. Okay, remember this one. So quickly, Java's regex package, java.util.regex package. In it we have the matcher class, the pattern class. Okay, two important classes. Okay, these two are the important classes, matcher class and pattern class. Pattern class is helpful in creating the pattern, and matcher class is performing the matching. Okay, so you will understand it very soon. So these two classes, they provide the facility of Java's regular expression. So without these two classes, Java's regular expression concept is not complete, or we can say without these two classes there is nothing in regular expressions. If you understand these two classes, you can do complete regular expressions in Java. Okay, so the following classes and interfaces we have under the Java regex package. The first one is the interface. Okay, match result is an interface. There is nothing to discuss about this interface. Okay, because it is an interface, it will have only the abstractions, isn't it? And what you do by learning those abstractions? Nothing. Definitely one class has to implement this interface in order to make the functionality. Okay, one class has to implement this interface, and it has to from that class we can get the functionality. But as of now we don't discuss anything under this. And moreover, if you see your syllabus, they are asking you about matcher and pattern class only. They are not asking about the other two. Just they are also there inside that package. That's the reason we are discussing about them: match result interface as well as the pattern syntax exception. Okay, these two things we will not discuss. And what we discuss, in the sense, we discuss only the matcher class and we discuss pattern class. Okay, so quickly go the matcher class. It implements the match result interface. So as I said, there is nothing inside the match result interface. Definitely one class has to implement that match result interface to get the functionality. And what class is implementing that one? Our matcher class itself is implementing the match result interface. Remember this one. Our matcher class itself is implementing. Here if you see the matcher class, the second predefined class, that is matcher class, it is implementing the match result interface. Okay, it is a regex engine, okay, which is used to perform match operation on a character sequence. So after generating the pattern, after generating the regular expression, with the help, what string is going to satisfy that regular expression, how we are going to check, means by comparing that regular expression with the string, isn't it? We compare the regular expression with the string, we perform a match operation over there, and who will do that job? In the sense, your matcher class will do that job. It is something like an engine, regular expression engine. It will have the regular expression, it will have the string, and it performs the match operation over there. And if the match found, it satisfies, it returns true. And if the match not found, then it will simply omits that string. Okay, about this matcher class. Then we have the methods under this matcher class. The first one, matches. As you can see, under this matcher class we have the matches method. Test whether the regular expression matches the pattern. So whatever pattern we are supplying, that pattern, is it matching with the regular expression or not? Who will check? The matches method will check. Find, as we said, regular expression, this concept of regular expression means not only performing the matching but also searching, isn't it? Searching also depends on matching only. First it will find and then it will return. Okay, so find method will do that job. And we have group, start, and group count method. Okay, just read the description, you will understand these methods. Okay, then we have the pattern class. It is the compiled version of a regular expression. So it will have a pre-processed regular expression in it. If you create the object of this pattern class, inside that object, what we will have? We will have a pre-compiled regular expression. Regular expression. So that's the reason we are saying the compiled version of regular expression. Okay, so it will hold that regular expression after processing. Okay, it will have a working regular expression, we can say, or the dynamic form of regular expression, we can say. Okay, it is used to define a pattern for the regular expression engine. So whatever pattern we are going to create with the help of this pattern class, that pattern we are going to pass as an argument to your regex class. Okay, sorry, that matcher class. Remember this one. Okay, then here we have different methods under this pattern class. Not here. Here I kept matcher class. It is not matcher. All these methods are your pattern class methods. Here this is wrong. Okay, this is pattern class methods. So under this pattern class method, what we have? We have the pattern compile. Okay, it will create matcher method. So it is the return type. Matcher class is the return type, and matcher method. Then we have matches method, then split method. About this split method also we need to discuss. Then pattern method. So all these methods, they are helpful. They are helpful in creating the pattern, we can say. Okay, in creating the pattern, these methods are helpful. Okay, then one simple example we see. So where we create one pattern and we pass some strings to check whether those strings are satisfying our pattern or not. Okay, so I will explain this. I will go a bit slow over here because this concept it is quite confusing. Okay, because we need to understand a lot of things over here before going into this concept. So that's the reason I will go a bit slow. So just be with me. So I will open the Edit Plus and I will take okay, it's better to take the Java. Okay, just close the previous one. So here what we have to do, what, yeah, regex example, as we are demonstrating a regular expression. So regex demo, I'm taking my class name as, and import the regex package. Okay, java.util.regex package you import import java.util.regex, I guess it is small letters only. Yes, package name means small letters. Regex dot include all the classes and sub classes and interfaces under this package. Okay, so then our class name, then write the public static void main, and inside it what we have to do, first you create the pattern. Okay, create the pattern, create the string, perform the match. Okay, so first I'm creating the pattern, so just pattern pattern p equals to new pattern pattern of. So here when I'm passing the pattern, I'm keeping dot s over here. You have to observe this one. So this dot represent, in place of dot any character may come. In place of dot any character may come. If you give the pattern like this dot s, that means whatever character you put at the, I mean only one character is allowed. Whatever character you put over here, only one character is allowed. That will satisfy this string, and it should be of 2 character wide only. Okay, what will be the width of this string? I mean how many characters that string can have, in the sense only 2 characters the string can have, and the first character it can be anything, and the second character must be s only. Okay, so all such strings will satisfy this pattern. That is what. So if I take as, this string will, I mean, if string means we have to pass in double quotations. If I take this string satisfies this pattern, because here in place of dot we have the character a, and in the second letter is s. So this string is satisfying this pattern. Okay, similarly if I take bs, cs, likewise up to zs. Okay, all these strings combination of 2 characters, all these strings, they satisfy this pattern, because here it is saying dot, in place of dot you can keep any character, and the second character must be s. Okay, this is the meaning of this regular expression. This is your regular expression. This is the meaning of this regular expression. So all these strings, whatever I have written over here, all these strings, they are satisfying that regular expression. So if I take something like this, AB, is it satisfying this regular expression? No. Okay, of course it is also 2 character in length, but the second character you see over here we have B, and according to the regular expression the second character must be S. So it is not satisfying. Same thing like BD, if you take, this string is also not satisfying. Okay, like this, you remember this one. This is our regular expression, a simple regular expression with dot. Okay, dot represent a single character. That single character, it can be anything. It can be anything. And s must be s only in all the strings. Then only they will get satisfied. If you give something else over here, you will get output as false. Okay. So now what I will do, I will perform the matching. So yeah, that regular expression I am keeping over here, dot s. Okay, like this. This is my regular expression. So after that, what I am doing, I am performing the, I am creating the string, and I am calling the matcher method. So how, what we have to do, create matcher match. Okay, matcher match, or matcher m, simply take only one character, equal, because match we have as a method, so it's better not to take that one. Okay, then new, yes, no need of new over here, directly invoke p dot matcher. p dot matcher, yes, p dot matcher of, pass the string which you want to perform the comparison. Okay, then close it. Okay, then take the because whatever method we are going to invoke on this matcher class, that is matches method, so that will return a boolean value. So boolean b is equals to m dot matches, that's it. So what it will do, this p is the regular expression and this m is the matcher method, whatever matcher method you invoked in on these two. So this matches method will perform the match, okay, between this p and m. It will perform the match and it will return boolean value. If the match is true, if the match is successful, it will return true. That means if the string is satisfying your regular expression, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So that we will print now. So b we already have, so simply print that b to check whether it is matching or not. Save it. Okay, give the program name like regex demo.java. Control C, you take it. Now you save it. Control V dot Java. Okay, hit enter. It is done. Then compilation. It is, as you can see, okay, it is giving some error over here. Constructor pattern in class pattern can't be applied to given type. Okay, new we can't apply. What is there? Yeah, pattern dot compile. Yeah, because these classes we can't create the install. So pattern dot compile method we have to. So because we said the regular expression, it is the compiled version, isn't it? It is the compiled version of the regular expression. Okay, pattern class, it will give the compiled version of regular expression. So now it is correct. So then go and run. It will return true because the string whatever we supplied, it is matching the pattern. So over here take another string like 3 characters. Okay, DSS I am taking. So 3 characters. So is it matching the regular expression pattern? It is not matching. So it should return false. Just go compilation successful and then check run. It is returning false, as you can see, because the string length must be of 2 characters. Here we gave 3 characters, so it is not satisfying the regular expression. So BD, does it satisfy the regular expression? Just check. Okay, this is true. Oh, sorry, it is successful. Then as you can see, it is false. It is not satisfying. Okay. So likewise, you can remember the regular expression patterns. Okay. So a simple pattern I have taken over here. As we proceed in the what we call, as we proceed in the subject, I mean we will see more examples. So instead of writing the steps separately as I have done over here, first I have created the regular expression pattern, then I have created the string matcher string, then I performed the matches operation. So 3 different steps I have done. So you can go with within a single step like this. Okay, boolean b2 is equals to pattern dot compile of put the regular expression, then matcher of put the string, then match. Okay, like this also you can go. Or else this matches method, whatever matches method, we have a matches method inside the pattern class as well. Okay, inside the pattern class also we have matches method. So directly in this way also you can perform the match operation. How come? Pattern dot matches, first you give the regular expression, then you give the string. In that way also you can perform. See here, instead of writing these many steps, I will put these steps into the what we call comments. So here what I am doing, because that matches method, it returns the boolean value. So take the boolean, that b only, because we are printing b here. So matches, instead of compile and all, directly we are calling matches. Okay, pattern dot matches, and first we need to give the regular expression, then give the string. Okay, now this string will satisfy that one, so save it. Now go compile. Obviously I think because the method what we are using it now, it is I thought it is deprecated, but it is still existing. So just run it. See here, true we got. So in this way also we can create the we can perform the match between the regular expression and the string. Directly call pattern dot matches. We basically have three different ways of performing that one. So we discussed two ways, and this way will also work. Okay. So dot, it is representing a single character. Okay, it is representing a single character, so you can perform a lot many operations like as I have done over here. So what things will return true over here if our regular expression pattern is dot s. So directly they are invoking, see here, pattern dot matches method, directly they are invoking, and they are not going for that matcher class object to create the matching string, and a pattern class compile method to create the regular expression. Those things they are not doing. Directly simply pattern dot matches of, first you give the regular expression, then you give the matching string. That's it. So here dot s means two character the string length should be, and the second character must be s, and first character can be anything. This is the meaning of dot s. Dot s in the sense what it is giving the meaning over there, the string length must be of two characters. It can't be more than two characters, or it can't be a single character. Okay, it must be of two character length, and the first character must be n, the second character must be s, and the first character it can be anything. Okay, the second character it can be anything. So what matches will return true over here? This match, okay, the first match it will return true, because in the place of dot we have a and s is matching, so this will return true. This will return false because in the place of else we have k, so this is not matching. MST, it is also not correct because it is of 3 character length, so this one it is also returning false. Okay, this will also return false, so this is also not correct, and here this is also false. No, here you can see here how many characters we have taken. 2 dots we kept, isn't it? Dot dot s we are saying. So dot dot s in the sense, in place of first dot we are having any character, that any character is m. In place of second dot we have any character, that is a. In place of s, the third character, it must be s. So here we have s. So this will return true. Hopefully you understood. So how many dots we are having, that many characters we need to put, and those characters they can be anything. But if you have a specific character like this, this should match inside your regular expression. Whatever specific characters you are having, those characters must match inside the string. Other characters, there is it is not required. If you are keeping dot, they can be anything. Okay, so we have some regular expression characters. Okay, regular expression character classes over here. See, in between square brackets, if you are keeping ABC, that means it has to be, I mean, it constitutes only one character position, and that character position it can be either A, either B, or C, nothing apart from those. Okay, this will constitute only one character location. Remember this one. Likewise, not of ABC in the sense reverse of that one. A to Z, capital A to Z in the sense anything, only capitals, not what we call integers. Integers, characters small a to small z and capital A to capital Z are allowed. Integers are not allowed. Here only ABC is allowed. A, B or C are allowed. Not of ABC in the sense other than APC. Okay, other than any character except ABC. Okay, negation, reverse what I mean to say. Here A, D, M minus P in the sense A through D or M through P. Okay, A through D or M through P is allowed. So here intersection A through Z, A through Z, and if you keep this one intersection, that means D, E, F are allowed. Okay, D, E, F are allowed and remaining not allowed, and digits also not allowed. Okay, A to Z not of BC in the sense this is also something like an intersection only. So A through Z except B and C, because we have taken not. If you have not keep, if you don't put this not, then what will happen? It will go like an intersection. Okay, here also same thing, A through Z and M through P, it is not allowed. Okay, A through Z, M through P is not allowed. Okay, so in this way we can have different character classes in our regular expressions when we are creating. So we see some of the examples on this regular expression. So over here what I am saying, A, M, N. So only one character is allowed because we have not taken any other thing. So only one character. This bracket, square bracket, constitutes only one character. So only one character is allowed, and that character needs to be either A or M or N. Nothing apart from that. And it cannot go. The string length can't go more than one character. So here we have taken A, B, C, D. This is not allowed. Okay, here A, it is true. And here AMN in the, sorry, here AMMMNA, like this you have taken. This is also not allowed. Okay, so only one character place is allowed, and that character, it can be either A or M or N, nothing apart from that. So likewise, so simply I will go and I will put that regular expression. So it's better you remove these things, and just like this only we put the program, and whatever matcher class will come over there, whatever pattern class will come over there, that class we put over here, and we put a string accordingly, and we will see the output. See here what we are saying, like this AMN. Okay, and we are closing the square bracket. So does this AS satisfies this one? No, because AMN in the sense only one character is allowed. Here we are keeping two characters. Okay, so ultimately you will get error over there. Error in the sense false. The matches operation will return false. As you can see, we got false. Okay, so then the next one we have, let us say if you put M, is it allowed? Yes, it is allowed. It will return true. Compile, and then run. As you can see, we got true. So if you put A, if you put M, if you put N, like this, is it true? Same regular expression type we are passing over here. Is it true? No. Why it is not true? Because the regular expression is saying only one character inside the string is allowed, but you are taking three characters, so it is false. Hopefully you understood. Okay. Yeah, here another set of qualifiers we have, regex qualifiers we say, specify the number of occurrences of a character. Okay, X occurs, so X question mark in the sense X can occurs once or not at all. Okay, question mark if you are keeping after the character, question mark if you are keeping, and this will also constitute only one character position, and in that character this X can occur, I mean in that position X can occur only once or not at all. Okay, you can put or not. X plus in the sense X can occur once or more than once. Okay, X must occur once or more than once. If it is not occurring, you will get error. I mean you will get false condition. X asterisk in the sense X can occur 0 or more times. Okay, it can occur 0 or more times. This is once or more times, and this is 0 or more times. X in curly brackets if we are keeping N in the sense X must occur N times only. X must occur N times only. N comma in the sense X can occur N or more times. Okay, N or more times. So this is exact number of times, and this is to that number or more. Okay, YZ in the sense in a range. Okay, in a range. At least Y times but less than Z time. Okay, in a range. So this thing to practice. So over here we are taking AMN. Okay, what we are saying AMN question mark in the sense these characters, any of the character from these things, it must occur either once or none. So over here A is occurring once, so this is true. So over here A is occurring more than once. Okay, either question mark means what? Here you see question mark means once or not at all. Once or not at all is question meaning of question mark. So here question mark qualifier is giving the meaning once. So A is occurring once, so you will get true. Here also question mark qualifier, it is giving the meaning of once, but A is occurring 3 times, so this is false. Question mark qualifier, occurrence of only once. A, M, 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 N, 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 this is also false. This is also false because Z is occurring over here. That is not allowed. A, M, it is also false. Only one character, A, M, N, we are keeping when in square brackets. It will constitute only one character, but A is occurring once and M is occurring once. So this is also false. Okay. So plus qualifier, one or more times, isn't it? One or more times. So this A is occurring one time. So this is true. Then AMN, A is occurring 3 times, so this is also true. One or more. Plus qualifier means one or more. So AMN plus AA is occurring twice, MMM is occurring thrice, and NN is occurring twice. So because any number of characters can repeat more number of times, so this is true. So AMN plus, this is a different character is occurring over here. Z. T also different character. So this is false. Remember this one. Then asterisk qualifier, AMN asterisk means 0 or more number of times, isn't it? 0 or more number of times. So AMMNA, this is true. Okay. Hopefully you understood this one. So yeah, we will practice one by one. So here you see, if I put the question mark, only one character is allowed. Okay, and that should occur one or more time. So A, this will return true. Okay, compile, it is successful. Now run. As you can see, we got true. Okay, if I put A, Z something T, A like this, A is repeating 2 times and ZT some different characters came into picture, so this will definitely return false, isn't it? So these type of regular expressions we can create using the concept of regex. Okay, false we got. Hopefully you understood this one. So the next concept, we have the meta characters. The meaning, it is very easy. If you read it, you will get it. Okay, the example program also we have. Then the finder class we have. Okay, then we have yeah, with this we are done with this regular expressions. Okay, so then we have the concept of enums, enumerations. Okay, enumerations are nothing but it is something like a collection only. It is something like an array, we can say. Arrays, but they will hold some fixed length of values. When defined inside enumeration, every element inside enumeration will hold some fixed set of constant. Okay, so like weekdays, we have from Monday to Sunday, we have 7 weekdays. So all those, if you put in sequence, they will hold some constants inside the enumeration. Okay, so you can create the enumeration for seasons, you can create the enumerations for months, you can months in a year, you can create the enumerations for the days of week. So whatever, I mean, in our real time, whatever comes in this sequence, okay, whatever comes in this sequence, you can put inside an enumeration if your project or if your application is of that type. Okay, if your application is handling, let us say, only dates, okay, dates, then you can create one enumeration for month, and you can create another enumeration for weekdays. Okay, like that you will have some fixed constant values. Instead of typing the name, the lengthy name in your programming, you can put that constant, and from that constant using the enumeration, you can get the name over there. Okay, like that these enumerations are helpful. So enumeration in Java is a data type which contains a fixed set of constants. It can be used for days of the week like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, likewise. Then directions, we have north, east, west, south. Then seasons, we have like spring, summer, winter and fall, autumn and fall. Then colors we have. Okay, all these things, they will come in sequence. So you can create enumerations for such entities inside your application. Okay, according to Java naming conventions, we should have all constants in capital letters. So whenever we are creating a constant. Okay, in programming, whenever we are creating a named constant, what we do, we take all capitals, isn't it? We take all capitals. So it is a better practice if you put all enumerator fields like capitals, because they represent constants in programming. So by seeing those capital letters, one can understand that it is an element of enumerator. Okay, likewise. So yeah, enum can be thought of as classes which have a fixed set of constants. Okay, enumerator, when you are creating the enumerator name, okay, it can be a classes and it can have only constant fields. We are not going to have any methods. Okay, of course we can keep methods that we will see afterwards. So it is a constant class, we can, I mean, it is a class with only constants, we can say fixed set of constants. Okay, enum constants are static and final implicitly. You no need to do anything, you no need to declare them as static and final. Final, why we are saying, means you can't change the value of them. Static, why we are saying, means directly with the help of enumerator type name you can access those fields, no need to create the object or something. Okay, like how a static variable behaves in your programming, in that same way these enumerator fields will behave. They are static. Directly with the help of class name or directly with the help of enumerator type name, you can access the internal fields. And moreover, they are final in nature. Final in the sense we can't change the value of them. Okay, it is available since Java's 1.5. Okay, 1.5 version, we have this enumerators in Java programming. Enumerators are used to create our own data type like classes. This is all. This is also a mean to create enumerators. This is also enums. Okay, better not to call it as an enumerator, because there is a possibility if you use the same name in your examinations. So we call them as enums. Enumerator, we use this term in C language, but in Java, when it comes, we call it as enums. Okay, enums are used to create our own data types like classes. The enum data type, also known as enumerated data type, is used to define an enum in Java. Enumerated data type is used, or enum is used to create an enumerated type of data. Okay, unlike C, C++, enum in Java is more powerful. Here we can define an enum either inside the class or outside the class. Okay, no need, you don't need to put always the enumerator or enum inside the class. You can even put it outside a class also. Okay, there is an enum class defined inside java.util package enum class. So if you create an enumerator or if you create an enum inside your program, so automatically that enum will inherit this enum class. We no need to do anything. Okay, so it cannot inherit any other class, but it can implement many interfaces. So once a particular class is inheriting another one class, there is no scope of inheriting other classes, isn't it? Because multiple inheritance, it is not supported in Java. Okay, at any point of time, any predefined class or any user defined class, it can inherit only one existing class. Okay, only one existing class. So but to achieve multiple functionality, what it is doing, it is implementing many interfaces. Okay, yeah, we can put fields, constructors, methods, and even main method inside an enumerator. Okay, inside in Java's enum. So don't think that it will have only the fields like constants. You can even put constructors, you can even put methods, definitions, and you can even put the main method, entire main method inside the enum. Okay, so points to remember for Java's enum. They are enum improves type safety. Enum can be easily used in switch. Okay, enum can be traversed. Enum can have fields, constructors, and methods. Enum may implement many interfaces but cannot extend any other class, because it is internally extending the enum class. Okay, because of that reason it cannot extend any other class, rather it can implement other interfaces. This is a simple example we are seeing over here, and then we will see the value of method and ordinal method which we can apply on the enumerator. This is second example we see, and then we see how we can define the enum inside and as well as outside the class. Okay, there are two different forms of defining this enum. One like an array, and other one like a class. Okay, those two definitions we will see. Then we discuss a simple example on that one, and how we can define inside a class and how we can define outside a class. That example we will see, and how we can keep an main method inside the enum, that also we will see. Okay. Okay, then we have the concept of internationalization. Okay, it is okay, a small concept only. So quickly we complete all these things. So first we do the examples on enum. So this is the simple example of enum. So just go to your edit plus, yeah, take another Java program, and here you, as we are doing enum demonstration, enum demo, and we need to import yeah, util package you can import, or just see what will happen, because here I don't think any package is required. So here inside PSVM, what we are doing, we are creating an enumerator outside the main method. Before the main method we are creating, for season we are creating, see, this is how we are creating the enum. Means enum keyword we are using, and enumerated type name identifier we are using. Season is the identifier and enum is the type. Okay, enum is the type, and all the fields how we are specifying, just put the take the curly brackets, like a block you take the curly brackets and put whatever fields you want to put inside that enumerator. Okay, so just go see this enumerator. When we are accessing, we are using the advanced form of for loop. About this advanced form of for loop we discussed in your second unit, I guess. We have two different forms for loop. One is the regular traditional form, and the second one is the one which works like an iterator. So every time from this season interface, season enumerator, what it will do, it will take one value and it will put inside this s. So how long this loop will iterate, in the sense, as long as you have values inside this season. Okay, so once the value is over, this loop will break. So initially when value method invokes on this season, it will retrieve the winter value, and puts that value inside s, and that s we are printing over here. After printing s, again it will go back to this one and checks whether season is having more fields. Yes, as it is having, spring it is having, so it will retrieve that one, then summer, then fall. After retrieving fall, what will happen? As it is not having any more elements, the loop will break. Okay, so quickly we go and we practice this one. So before the main method, create the enumerator, public enum, name is season. Okay, take the curly brackets, and between these curly brackets put all those things: winter, summer. Okay, winter, summer, spring, put whatever, spring, then fall. Like this we have created with 4 fields. Okay, now what we have to do, we need to print that enumerator. So to print that enumerator, I am taking the help of a for loop for, and I am taking the, sorry, I don't want this form, I want the second form of for loop, that is season. It is user defined, season s colon season dot values. I guess, yes, season dot values, season dot values of. So in each iteration one value will be retrieved, and as long as values are present inside the uh, enumerator, the loop will run. So simply it will print all the enumeration fields on the output screen. So save the program, enum demo. Okay, just go save as, put that thing name dot java, hit enter. Okay, now tools, compile, it got compiled successfully, then run. See here, winter, summer, spring, fall, all enumerators we are getting on the output screen. Okay. uh, Next thing, this we practiced. Yeah, next thing, we are seeing that, yeah, we can use the value of and ordinal methods to access the uh, what we call the values of I mean, we said every enumerated field will hold some constant value. So in order to access that value, we can use these methods. Okay, so quickly check that one. Value of winter is winter. Index of winter, you just call ordinal, it will print the index. Index of summer, yeah, ordinal method will return the index. Okay, value and sorry, value of method, what it will do, it will return the value. Okay, so winter, when you are passing, the value will be winter only. Okay, so simply I will print that one. As we are printing here those things, I mean the internal fields, now what I am doing, system dot out dot println of winter value, or value of winter, let us assume. So assign it season dot value of winter, season dot value of winter, like this. Okay, okay, then index, we print the index of summer, let us say system dot out dot println of index of summer, put the semicolon in between just to have the separation over there, then plus season dot ordinal method will return the index. Okay, okay, value of winter dot ordinal, on that we need to, ordinal method will not take the argument. First you retrieve the value of same thing, put winter and dot ordinal. So ordinal will return the index of enumerator. Okay, for okay, we will calculate for summer, not winter. Winter if you take, it will give 0. So here we see what you will get. Okay, so just compile it. So no issues, go and run. As you can see, we got value of winter, it is winter only. Then index of summer, as you can see, it is 1. Okay, hopefully you understood. Why 1 means because we took summer in the second place. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So just check for fall what you will get. Okay, ordinal value for fall what you will get, or the index value. Compile, compilation successful, and then run. As you can see, we got 3. Okay, so hopefully you understood this one. So the next thing, you're defining enumerator inside the class, outside the class, and like a class, like a block, it is possible. Okay, so as you can see, these two definitions whatever I have given, here we don't have the semicolon at the end. In between fall and curly bracket there is nothing, but in between fall and curly bracket we have semicolon. So these two are the differences, or these two are the approaches using which we can define the enum. Okay, we can define the enum. Okay, so here that same program defining outside the class. So here you can see enumerator, it is going outside the class, and it is possible. Okay, simply what we have to do here, take this enumerator and put it outside the class. So it is also possible. So keeping enumerator outside the class, there is an advantage, multiple classes can access it. Okay, that's the reason we are keeping the enumerator, I mean this keeping enumerator outside the class is allowed, because it is a constant. And okay, so there is something, yeah, we can't take what mistake I have done here. Should be declared in a file named season.java. Okay, this public, yeah, this thing is not required. Yeah, as you can see, it is okay. We are getting the same example. Okay, so defining the enumerator outside the class, it is obviously possible, and just now we have seen. And defining inside a class, and whatever programs so far we have done, there we have declared the enumerator inside the class only. Okay, so then main method inside enumerator also you can keep. Then we have some, yeah, how these enumerator fields will hold the constant values. I mean, we can, how we can assign the constant values means simply when you are declaring the enumerator, put the constant value after that enumerator field type, so that that enumerator will take, I mean, enumerate enum field will take the constant value. So like this. Okay, so then internationalization, we have a concept called internationalization, localization in Java. See, when we develop an application, that application, it needs to run anywhere you go in the world, because many of the times we try to develop the web-based application, and for web-based application there is no concept called the limitation. Okay, anywhere in the world anybody can open that application, anybody can access the application, isn't it? Anybody can get the services from the application. So enumeration, it can also be abbreviated as I18N. Okay, so if you see between I and N, we have total 18 characters. Internationalization, so between N and I we have 18 characters. There are total 18 characters between the first letter I and the last letter N. So that's the reason we also have, instead of calling that internationalization, you can even call it as I18N. Same thing for localization. Okay, here we will discuss about localization. So I10N, I18N means internationalization, I10N means it is localization. Okay, so because there are sorry, this is L10N. Okay, because between L and N there are 10 letters, so it is L10N, and I10N in the sense internationalization. It is a mechanism to create such an application that can be adopted to different languages and different regions. So there should not be any boundary, there should not be any limitation on your application. And if you want to make your application to work all over the world, so you have to do the application internationalization. So suppose if you are using that application in USA, it should support all English and US English, as well as the currency, all those things. Okay, whatever parameters we have, country specific, all those parameters it should support inside USA. And if you are using that same application inside India, and according to the India, it has to adopt. Okay, so internationalization is one of the powerful concept of Java. If you are developing an application and want to display messages, currency, date, time, etc. according to the specific region or language, and what parameters will modify, I mean will get changed from country to country or from region to region, in the sense these things. Sometimes messages, sometimes because messages, why I am saying means some messages may go as per the federal law of a particular region. Okay, because of that reason I'm using messages also as a parameter over here. Okay, don't think that all messages are same for all the countries. Some messages may go under the federal law. Okay, so definitely we have to look after such messages as well. Then currencies, ultimately according to the region it will change. The date, okay, time, these things will also change according to the region. So when you are doing the internationalization of your application, definitely you have to focus on these things. Okay, localization, it is also abbreviated as L10N because there are 10 letters, 10 characters between L and N. Okay, localization is a mechanism to create such an application that can be adapted to specific language or region by adding locale specific test and component. Okay, simply, in order to achieve internationalization, we are going for localization. Remember this one. Localization in the sense, internationalization in the sense, your application should be global. Okay, your application should be global. So when the application will be global, when we achieve internationalization in the sense, suppose you are developing the application by sitting in India and you are following all Indian parameters in your application, and you are taking your application to US. Okay, then what it should support? In order to work that application inside USA also, the application should support the the internationalization. Okay, so how we achieve internationalization in the sense, wherever we are taking the application, we are implementing localization over there. Okay, we have to implement localization based on US so that the application will support internationalization. Previously the application was local to India, but now you took that application to US, so you have to perform localization over there. Okay, you have to perform localization so as that application should support the US locality. In that same way, if you take that application to some other country like UK, you are taking, ultimately there also you have to localize that application. Then take to some other country like Canada, you take, there also you have to localize, isn't it? So in different regions we are localizing the application in order to support their local parameters over there. So doing this type of things, wherever you are taking the application, there you are localizing. Doing these type of things with the application is nothing but the internationalization. Okay, remember this one. So understanding the culturally dependent data before starting internationalization. I mean, what data is dependent on regions. Okay, so just now I have explained many things. Before starting the internationalization, let's first understand what are the informations that differ from region to region and country to country, continent to continent. Okay, these are a few of the parameters, or these are few of the informations we can say that culturally dependent to a region. So if you take messages, dates, times, numbers, currencies, measurements, okay, phone numbers also, country codes will change. Okay, postal addresses, okay, labels and GUI components. So don't think that GUI components will be same in all countries. They are also sometimes dependent on the country and region. So you have to internationalize those GUI components also. Okay, so yeah, importance of locale class in internationalization. An object of locale class represents a geographical or cultural region. Okay, when you create the, see this locale class, LOCALE, locale class, when you create the object of this class, it will have all the geographical information into it, and based upon your location, or based upon your requirement of the country, you can what we call, you can mold that object or you can change that object. This object can be used to get the locale specific information such as country name, language, variant, etc. Okay, so the constructors of this locale class, we have three different constructors with different parameters. You can get the description from the docs. Okay, these are the different methods we have inside the locale class, okay, with their description. Yeah, example of locale class that prints the information on the default locale. So here, because we can't go US to test this one, so what we do is we create an application and we see whether it is giving our country specific data or not, and we try to change some of the parameters to that locale object to check how it will behave. Okay, so quickly, so this is a simple program where we are displaying the country name. Okay, and we are displaying the language that country is using, and displaying the uh, okay, So different methods we have under this locale class. If you read the description about those methods, you will get the clarity. SO3 in the sense 3-character country name and 3-character language name. Then get language and get country in two. Display country is different and get country is different. Display country in the sense it is giving the full name, and get country in the sense it is giving in 2 letters only. You can print in 2 letters, you can print in 3 letters, same thing, language, country, name. Okay, so we will see by creating the locale object what it will give into our application. Maybe it has done somewhere, I mean this program maybe they practiced somewhere in US, so we do in our local and we see how it will give. Okay, so here yeah, go to a new program. It's better always to go for a new program. Only 2 programs we have more, so we practice those 2 and we wind up. So include the util package, import java.util.star. Okay, come down, and here we are practicing was internationalization, and in that locale class we are pass. Okay, locale demo, and in it here create the locale object. Okay, locale class. Okay, L equals to new, not new, I don't think this is new, locale.get defaults, because many times what will happen means these are abstract classes, so you can't create the uh, instance directly. Get defaults off. Okay, now locale object got created, so simply system.out.println of, first we are printing the country name. Okay, L dot get display name, isn't it? Display name, display country, get display country of. So what it will give? It will give the country name. Okay, well, let me just save this. We will see what it will go, as it will go according to the package, or it will go according to the system defaults. We will see. Control V dot Java. Okay, if it is printing US only, means it is going as per the defaults, sorry, as per the package. Locale dot get find, get find, no, get defaults, cannot find symbol, get defaults, get default. Okay, it is successfully compiled. Now run. As you can see, it is printing United States only, so that means it is going as per the package. Okay, so then it is not going as per the system defaults, it is going as per the package. So in order to get a different thing over here, let me just see what we can do. So get default, no, new, yeah, we can go with the new method now, sorry, new keyword now. So copy this same thing, come down, and here call the constructor of locale class. So new locale of, here you put fr for France, I guess. So compile. Okay, successfully compiled. Then run France. Okay, so if I put IN, maybe for India, I'm just checking IN, just save it. Okay, compile. Here we have the country code IN, then run India, it is printing, you can see. So in this way you can create the locale object and you can make your application specific. So here we are displaying the country name. You can even display the what we have, get display language. We will see for India what language we have. Okay, language we can display, compile. Okay, then run. See, India, Indonesian, it is saying, it is giving wrong information here. Okay, Indonesian, it is saying. Okay, our language is Hindi, right? Our national language. So sometimes I mean, because many of the Western countries they will maintain properly, but for this Eastern Asian countries and Southern Asian countries they will not maintain. Okay, there is nothing in that. You can go to that local class or local class, what we call package. Uh, Inside your Java packages, local class you need to find out, and you can modify the content over there. Okay, so then get country name, get ISO 3 country, like that you can get 3 character name for the country, and language 3 characters you can get. Then get language, get country also there, which is used to print only 2 characters for your country. Okay, so in that way you can do all those things to achieve the internationalization. Okay, here they have created different objects, like for US one object, for France one object, for yeah, one more country ES. Okay, so and they are doing some manipulations over here to get the output according to that one. Okay, you can practice this program to get the output. Okay, yes, with this we are concluding our internationalization concept. I have given the idea about this internationalization, and these programs you can practice. Okay, so with this we have concluded all 5 units. Okay, thank you very much, students.